everybody. Captain Dave Schneider, It's a Guide's Life. Listen, I've finally made it to Mullet Lake. And listen, you know, it's been, I don't know, 27, 37 hours. Who the hell knows? Listen, doesn't matter. But we're here, all right? Now, I want you to, reason I stop in this location in particular is because this is a special place. Not because this old dude is sitting over here, but mainly because right behind me over here, straight on that direction, is where I caught the largest smallmouth bass of my life. 8 pounds and 4 ounces. What's crazy is 10 days later, up in that V that you see up here behind me, some old dude trolling with a crawler harness caught the new state record over 9.5 pounds, or right near 9.5 pounds. I want to say it was 9.4, 9.6, something like that. Ah, God almighty. Listen, guys, this is the time of year that you want to be in northern Michigan, and this is the time of year when you want to be fishing these waters. And I'm here right now because I'm going to give you 2 tips. I'm going to give you some Okeechobee tips, and then I'm going to give you a Mullet Lake / any northern body, whether it's Lake Charlevoix, Burt Lake, Mullet Lake, any of these clear water Great Lakes, glacial lakes that are up in this part of the world. Number one, let's start with the smallmouth water right here. Guys, you want to look for, right now, this time of year, now there's fish on beds, but there are not a lot of fish left on the beds, but there are going to be some fish on beds. Man, when you see them, catch them, put them back, all right? I'm going to tell you something. Drop shots are a great way to catch them, I find a lot of times with a drop shot, it allows me to put the bait right where I want to and lower it down. A lot of times I use like a little gulp minnow, or I'll use a gulp little night crawler. It's only about 4 inches long. It's green usually is the one I use, and I'll just let that thing fall, and I usually use a short leader, probably about 8 or 10 inches is all I'm using on the drop, and you throw that into a bed and they're going to pick it up. And my God almighty, you can see fish on beds in this water in 12, 13 feet of water. You can also see them in 1.5 feet of water. So that's the bed fishing component here, but that's kind of here or there. What I really want to talk about is when you're cruising along here, with your polarized glasses on, you're going to see dark patches, and these dark patches are key. A tube bait is great. I like to throw crankbaits, tube baits. I'll pitch a drop shot at a distance as a target lure as well, and whatnot, and I'll pitch them out and try and fish these dark patches. I mean, you might come all the way up on a flat and get to a dark patch and just pitch it up on the dark patch, and just let it sit. Just let your bait sit. It's like a fish in Okeechobee when it's tough, man. Just let it sit, and boop, and man, just let her have it, man. You're on for the fight of your life. 3 pound smallmouth up here this time of year when the water hits 65, almost 70 degrees. When the water hits 80 degrees, it's crazy. A 3 pounder fights like a 7 or 8 pound largemouth. An 8 pound largemouth fights like a 15 pound, or an 8 pound smallmouth fights like a 15 pound largemouth. It's amazing, you guys. It's just unbelievable. Probably what makes this so special too is I'm home, guys. I'm home. This is where I was born and raised. I married up, as most of you probably already know, and my wife grew up right over there, right on that shoreline over yonder, and her family lived right on the lake here. And she's the first one that ever took me fishing, believe it or not. We were actually married. I was 19 years old, first time I ever went fishing. And yeah, that's how the whole thing started. She ruse that day, I can assure you. Now, listen, all right? So dark patches, that's what I want to talk to you about. Look for dark patches. You're cruising around, you get up on the flats, look for dark patches. Trolling motor, get on your trolling motor and go 100 yards if you have to see a dark patch and throw at it. Sometimes a little isolated patch might have a 5 or 6 pound smallmouth on it. I'm not kidding you. This be where giants live, okay? I mean, we're talking 8 and 9 pounders that live in this lake, certified. We're talking about fish that have been caught, weighed, measured, and whatnot. We're not talking about what it coulda, shouldas, all right? Last year was a tough year. I only had 1 fish over 6 pounds. Normally we get multiple fish over 6 pounds, but I got here late, and we had several mayfly hatchings, and I didn't do a good job of adjusting initially, and but we caught lots of 4s and 5s as well. Anyway, all right, so that's northern smallmouth fishing. Dark patches equal fish. All right, let's talk Okeechobee for a minute now. Guys, I just talked to a good friend of mine. By the way, shout out to two people right now. Scott Nealis, I love you, buddy. Scott and I have been best buddies for almost 40 years. Probably it's been 40 years. And Charlie Dennis. Charlie, I shouted Charlie out here the other night here. But Charlie and Scott have something in common, and I want to talk about that just real quick. You both are going to have a grandson named Finn. That's right, Scotty. Charlie's got a grandson that's going to be due here in about a week or so, and his name's going to be Finn. And of course, Scott, bless his heart, he had twins here. I don't know, maybe 6 months ago now, and the boy's name is Finn, and it's fantastic. So anyway, I just free of charge. But Charlie also wanted me to tell you guys this: fishing in the rim ditch. Out of Uncle Joe's cut, when he was here, he lost one of the biggest fish he's ever had on, and they caught multiple fish during a rainstorm in the rim ditch in the Uncle Joe's cut. Talking about when you go from Uncle Joe's all the way up to the lake, that 3 or 4 mile stretch, just straight, as narrow, rocks on both sides, alligators everywhere, and he caught himself. They caught several really nice fish, and they were using whopper ploppers, throwing it right up to the rocks and coming off the rocks. So that's a tip for you. And it's one more thing. A lot of fish are going to be in that cut right now, you guys, because they're getting out of the lake. The lake is dropping, it's dropping, and so they're getting out of there. So a lot of fish are in that cut. All right. So don't be afraid to work that area, even if it's tough. You can work a jig, you can work a worm off the rocky edges. But at the end of the day, for them it was a whopper plopper. You know, I talked about a Zara spook and some things like that. But anyway, up on Okeechobee, that's something you need to be thinking about, is that stretch of water, and thinking about when the weather gets a little hinky, don't be afraid to throw a topwater any time of day. All right. Captain Dave Schneider, it's a guide's life. By the way, I got to spend the morning with Boo. Yeah. I came down, I dropped my boat off, and I came by the lake here, and I'm gonna put my feet in this water here pretty soon. Not today, not right now, but guys, it's just gorgeous. You probably can't really. I don't know if the video does that any justice at all or not, but it's a gorgeous place, guys. The last piece of advice I have: if you haven't been to your home in a while, you need to go home. Go home and see where you grew up, because it has a special place. Captain Dave Schneider, listen, if you like the video, hit like. For God's sakes, hit subscribe. I know half of you aren't subscribers, because that's what my analytics say. And for God's sakes, be nice to your people. Be nice to people you have more friends to share it with. Captain Dave, I love you guys. I'll see you in the morning.